Welcome back for our second day of Systems of Inequalities. So in this video, we're still working with inequalities. However, now we're going to be combining systems of linear inequalities with absolute value inequalities. So basically, just concepts you've done everything today before. Now it's just combining it together. So you know how to graph that line. Y-intercept down at 4. Slope of 1, so up 1 over 1. And then you interpret your inequality. Greater than or equal to, so it's a solid line. And then it's greater than, which means above. And then you've also done inequalities with absolute values. So the only difference today is we're incorporating that instead of two lines is going to be a line and an absolute value. Now again, just to remind you, this absolute value is shifted 1 to the left and 2 up. So you find its vertex, and then its slope is -1. And so then you follow its slope down, but remembering that absolute value makes a V shape, so you have to continue in the other direction to finish the V. Interpret its inequality, so less than, strictly less than, so it is a dashed line. And then less than means you start at the vertex and you shade underneath that vertex. So you're getting everything down here. And then that double shaded region where the overlap is everything in here that I'm making black for you. Okay, that is your double shaded solution area. So again, today is literally all concepts you've seen before. We're just now taking time to combine them together. Okay, and this really is just practice. That's all you need of this. Not learning anything new, just kind of that practice so you get familiar with what you're doing. So let's take a look at this one. Y-intercept up at 3 and a slope of 1/2. So up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. So I follow that as much as possible. I interpret my inequality. Strictly greater than. Strictly greater than means I'm going to have a dashed line. And greater than means above. So there's my line inequality. Now let's graph my absolute value inequality. So let's interpret where its vertex is. So it's moving to the right 2 and up 1. So its vertex is going to be right there. And its slope, its stretch, is just 1. So it follows a slope of 1. Interpret its absolute value. So its absolute value is less than or equal to. So the or equal to piece means it's a solid line. I shade underneath it because it's less than. And now I find my double shaded region. So my double shaded region is going to be like this. And then actually, it's hard to see, but over here you end up with another region growing right there. If the graph were to continue, you would see more of that little region over there. The problems in the practice work have that a little bit more obvious. But here, sometimes you're going to get two disjointed regions. So you have to be really careful with your shading, and that you note sometimes you're going to have two double shaded regions when you're looking at these absolute value inequalities. So let's move on to our next page. So here again, just more practice. Okay, that's all this is going to take. No new learning, anything like that, just practice, practice, practice. And I do want to use this opportunity to review those special line cases with you. Y of 5, remember that gives me a perfectly horizontal line at 5. Okay, remember y being compared to a number is perfectly horizontal. Above that is going to be this right here. Then I got my absolute value. Again, let's see where its vertex is. Well, to the right 3 and up 1. So the vertex will be right there. It has a slope of 2, so up 2 over 1. So you make your slope, and then you mirror it in the other direction to get your V shape. Now here, notice I'm going to get a dashed line, and I'm shading greater than it. So greater than, I start at my vertex, greater than my vertex, here puts it on the inside. Then my double shaded region is going to be this region right in here. All right, and our last example for this note. Remember, x compared to something is a perfectly vertical line. Okay, so again, please make sure you're keeping those straight. And then we want less than. That's going to be all the x values over here. Now for my absolute value. Again, let's interpret where my vertex is. To the left 4 and down 1. So left 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, down 1 will put me right there. Slope of -2, so down 2 over 1. So I make my line here, then I mirror that line over. I interpret my absolute value, or my inequality sign is telling me I'm going to get a solid line. And now I'm going to do my double shading. The double shaded region is right down here. All right. So, as always, thank you for joining me for this. And again, I know this was basically just a lot of drill and kill, but all this takes is practice. It's remembering all the skills you've done before, bringing them back together. So, if you could take a minute, write me that summary, and then you'll be ready to go for your practice work when you come back to class.